If this is your first time to visit our page, thank you very much for browsing. Hopefully, you can stay longer than 2 minutes and perhaps you can learn something from our content. So, gravel racing has been very popular nowadays. My name is Leon Cruz, and I'm the founder of Cruise Control Multisport. We try to share some free knowledge, alternative learning ideas that might help you on your cycling. And today's topic is how can anyone improve themselves without having to spend too much money from fancy time trial equipment. So gravel has been booming the past few months, and I guess I'm one of those individuals who got the bug. And I've started trying out gravel events, and I've never looked back. I mean, it's super fun. I've never seen places that I never thought existed, and because of gravel events, I've seen the provinces and the great outdoors. So I plan to continue doing these events with my friends, but one of the topics that is very timely at the moment, especially with the introduction of so many aero bikes in the market, is how can you, with limited budget, improve your performance, which means speed, by simply modifying your current bike. And since I love my gravel bike, I wanted to check like what Ollie Bridgewood has been discussing online recently. How can modifying your bike and your posture improve you?
You want to do a time trial and you want to set up your road bike to be as fast as possible. Excellent. Now, I love time trialing. I'm really passionate about it. I think it's a fantastic way for people to dip their toe into racing and just test yourself against yourself. And the great news is you can do it on any bike. You don't need a fancy time trial bike. I actually prefer doing time trials now on just a normal drop bar road bike. And that's something that's really taken off. And I hope to see it take off in other places as well, because it makes the sport more accessible and more people are doing it. And in this particular instance, I'm going to be setting up my bike today and doing some things to it because we're going to be doing a road bike time trial together and seeing how quick we can go. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But that brings us on to the first thing. So the first thing is position. And I'm mentioning this first because it is the biggest thing. So to put this into context, if you had someone on an old steel tubed, round tubed bike, if they had a superior position on that bike, they're likely going to be faster than someone on a fancy 10 grand crazy aero bike with deep section wheels like this, because position makes the most difference. So to achieve a better position, the first thing you're thinking about is reducing your frontal area. Now, you can do this by looking in the mirror at your bike position and fit while you're on a static indoor trainer. But typically what people do is firstly lower the front end. Now, you can do this by removing some spacers and lowering your stem, or you can put a negative stem on to lower it further. You can put narrower handlebars on, and you can put a longer stem on too.
Boys, ready? So we're gonna go straight to the Orange Bridge, 10 laps. So that's, how long is that? 10.8 times 10? 108 kilometers, okay? We try to target 34. 34 average speed. Okay, let's go.
If you're not familiar with our place, we are here in Clark, Pampanga, in northern Luzon. And today's route is a 10-kilometer loop, and we're going to be doing it 10 times. Hopefully, we average the 34-kilometer average speed.
Okay, let's go. Ah, shit. Ah. Okay, let's go.
So we proceed to the first test, how posture can have an impact on your riding. And to prove this, we will try to modify a gravel bike by simply adding an aero bar and keeping everything standard, the chainring, single speed, the tires, 29 by 2.1, and let's see.
You should have told me. I would have brought the bladder for you.
Yeah.
Better.
Okay, next time we'll be testing our juniors today. Their goal is to at least do 10 laps, 34 average speed, best effort, which means that the boys have to work together. We're also going to be testing the vest.
To run our small experiment, we start with a pursuit game, which means that I'm gonna be working with Nikki and try to chase the bigger contingent, the bigger group in front, led by June and Carlo. The idea is they will be riding on their normal road bikes, and I'll try to work with Nikki using my gravel bike, but on a modified aero bar. Supposedly, with a 5-minute gap, we will try to close that down, and we have 100 kilometers to accomplish that. The route is a little bit challenging. It doesn't get easier as the kilometers go by. We're just very lucky that we have wide roads, no trucks, no buses, no motorcycles, so we can keep a very steady pace and stay on a position that we think is the most efficient. And when you say efficiency, we're talking about keeping a very low frontal surface area. So the aero bar is a gadget that can help minimize the frontal surface area. I try to break the wind for Nikki, and Nikki will help me, and vice versa. It's simply aerodynamics. I try to wear a long sleeves white to deflect the heat from the sun, lowering my heart rate. And we try as much as possible to modify anything we can just to add a little bit of speed and maybe make this gravel bike a little bit easier to pedal. And hopefully, I don't know how many kilometers to go. We hope to be able to chase the big group in front. So Nikki here will be resting behind me. We'll keep the tempo as steady as possible. Since the target speed is 34 kilometers per hour, it's not as simple as going gung-ho as fast as you can. It's all about pacing. We try as much as possible to manage our effort. It's always the long game. We always mention that. Always play the long game. Doesn't matter if you have a maximum speed of 60 kilometers per hour. It doesn't matter. What matters really is the average speed at the end of the day. And today's task is 34 kilometers per hour. May sound easy for most, but for weekend enthusiasts or non-pros, or especially with a bike that is outfitted with mountain bike tires, that could be a little bit challenging. But hopefully, just like what Ollie Bridgewood of GCN mentioned, the best upgrade that you can do is your posture, and that is for free. In fact, your posture modification gives you more advantage instead of having like a dedicated time trial bike or an aero wheel or a fancy group set. Focus on your posture first, modify it, train for it. It's not easy, but if you train hard for it, you can adapt to that optimized position.
Because position makes the most difference. So to achieve a better position, the first thing you're thinking about is reducing your frontal area. Now you can do this by looking in the mirror at your bike position and fit while you're on a static indoor trainer. But typically what people do is firstly lower the front end. Now you can do this by removing some spacers and lowering your stem, or you can put a negative stem on to lower it further. You can put narrower handlebars on. And you can put a longer stem on too. Now, a lot of people will be looking at this and going, yes, but that's too aggressive for me. I can't do that. And I would say, well, there's some important things to remember here. Firstly, time trials are typically less than an hour. Some 10-mile ones are around 20 minutes. That's not a huge amount of time to hold an aggressive position. The other thing is your body can adapt. If you train for the demands of your event, if you train to hold an aggressive position for a time trial, your body can adapt to hold that more aggressive position. So while it's something that you might not be looking to do for 6 hours of riding, you might want a more endurance-focused position, bear in mind your body will adapt. Now, changing your bar and your stem and playing around with that can be difficult, especially on modern road bikes, such as mine, where you've got an integrated bar and stem, which although is more aerodynamic, this is a big disadvantage of those systems. One thing you can do, though, without having to change your bar and stem, is alter the position of your levers, which I'll show now. Regular viewers will have seen that I have my hoods turned in all the time. This isn't something I specifically do for road bike time trials, but if you're looking for a gain that's free, then I'd suggest trying it out. The reason for this is it allows you to get your forearms a little bit narrower when you're in this aero hoods position, which is, with your forearms flat and your hands on the hoods, actually the most aerodynamic position. It's more aerodynamic than riding in the drops. So the other thing you should do is practice being able to hold that position and ride in that position while keeping your head as low as possible. If you don't yet turn your levers in, give it a whirl.
We go back to our course and we met someone from Portugal. And he was very happy to tag along, and we were very happy to have him around. Jolly guy, will help us go faster, and he's in along for the ride. So it's not our intention to drop him, so I've been encouraging him just to stay as long as possible on the draft. And my job is just to keep a very steady pace. The steadier, the better. Remember, one thing that makes riders get exhausted is fluctuating your effort. Try as much as possible to mute down any unnecessary acceleration and keep it as steady as possible. This allows our friend from Portugal to stay as long as he can, and hopefully he can do another round, 2 or 3 more laps. And hey, if you're listening, please give us a shout out on our page, and hopefully we see you again next weekend. Okay, so let's continue the ride, and hopefully you can stay as long as you can without getting bored and learn some stuff visually on how a steady ride, steady posture, hand position, head position, pedaling technique can perhaps jumpstart your cycling. And for those people who have plateaued on their performances and have been frustrated for the past few months, maybe it never hurts to try something new. And please enjoy the ride. Please enjoy the rest of the vlog, and we'll leave you from here. Thank you very much again for visiting our page, and we hope to see your comment. Bye.
3. We're gonna try to catch the first group steady. Good morning. 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 Average speed 34.5. 34.5. Average speed 34.5.
At the 54-kilometer mark, we finally get a glimpse of the first group, and we try to keep the steam rolling for us not to lose any momentum. So now we can regroup and try to work together as long as we can to try to achieve the 34-kilometer average speed. We are now at the 54-kilometer mark. So that's basically just 96 kilometers to go, 95 kilometers to go. Aerodynamics and posture is extremely important. We've survived this long, and we're still on the halfway mark. If you're still here and watching, thank you again for staying this far into the video. It's always nice to share our morning rides with the uncles. Best time to be healthy, especially with all the stresses in our community at the moment. And if you can stay positive, stay exercising, you're always welcome to join our community rides every weekend. Remember, it's Saturday and Sunday, 6:30 a.m. Please drop us a note at our page or here at our YouTube channel. Everyone is always welcome.
68 kilometers, average speed 34.3, okay? Average speed 34.3. 68 kilometers. 30k to go, 30. Sa likod kita. Ha? Jun! Habulin nyo yung average speed ninyo. Kami, 34.3 kami ni... Okay. Naka-ano na kami, 75 kilometers. Kayo ilan? 82. Oo, mauna na kayo. Oo, habulin nyo. Kami, 34 pa rin yung average speed namin eh. 34.2, 34.2, Nikki. We just continue what we're doing. Dulo. 1.14 to go. Come on, Nikki. 1 kilometer to go, 1K to go. One kilometer to go, Nikki. Yeah, so we did 100K.
Yung ano po, alam kong
Ano to?
yung matransfer
Mga kontrabando.
kontrabanda sa
Grabe yung...
Iba yung... Whew, 100K, sub 3 hours.
Iya di lang to isang beses ha. Asulod sa kabuan yung adlaw-adlaw na to.
Huh? Let's just go to the Buko and place. Straight, huh? Okay, let's go. Whew, solid, huh? Solid 100K.
My name is Leon Cruz, the founder of CRZ and the lead designer for Walser Custom Titanium Bikes. We finally have our hub here. We've opened our home here in the Philippines. It's been years in the making, but we serve hundreds of cyclists every day, 7 days a week, and our merchandise are available for everyone. We would love you to visit us and find out how we design our bikes, why people who ride our bikes think this is the best solution ever. In our studio, you get to design your own bike by getting your 3D scan, focusing on your custom geometry to guarantee that your first investment would probably be your last. It's a one-stop solution, a holistic solution that will give you a lot of joy on your first day on the bike. No more bike fitting, no more refitting, no more upgrades. Everything will be set based on how you want it. You don't have to be a seasoned rider to figure out the best bike for you. I know it's confusing whenever you go to that bike shop. There's so many choices, there's so many brands. Very often, you don't get the help that you need, especially when it comes to customizing a product that is fit for you. Not necessarily on measurement, but how you would want to ride your bike. Here in Taktak at Bespoke Customs, you get to speak with our expert coaches, expert biomechanical engineers, and be able to identify how we can elevate your hobby or cycling for the next level.